The gentleman from Georgia is recognized for 1 hour.
Mr. Speaker, for the purpose of debate only, I yield the customary 30 minutes to my friend, the gentleman from Massachusetts, Mr. McGovern, pending which time I yield myself such time as I may consume. During consideration of this resolution, all time is yielded for the purposes of debate only. Mr. Speaker, I also ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. Speaker, House Resolution 167 provides a closed rule for consideration of H.J. Res. 48. Keeping in line with the actions of the minority party and its CRs last year, this rule also provides for 1 hour of debate and a motion to recommit. We're here again today dealing with a continuing resolution, Mr. Speaker, because H.R. 1 sits idly on the Senate side. As you will recall, H.R. 1 has been the singly most debated piece of legislation that we've had in this body this year. In fact, we considered more amendments on that spending bill in February than all of the previous spending bills in the last 2 Congresses combined. And yet, even as the House has worked its will, even as I think we on both sides of the aisle identify that as one of the finest hours of this body, it sits in the Senate, unused, unexamined, undebated. Mr. Speaker, we're in the middle of a debate on spending. It's not that we tax too little in this country, it's that we spend too much. We're operating with $1.4 trillion annual operating deficits, $1.5 trillion, $1.6 trillion. And now they're saying next year it could be $1.7 trillion. Spending that we do with money that we don't have. We need to get to the big picture, Mr. Speaker. We need to have this debate about how do we move beyond what was last year's business and get on to what's this year's business. These things that we're working on, this 3-week CR, Mr. Speaker, this is not the real business. The real business is yet to come. I sit on the Budget Committee. If you want to talk about real business, look at the tough decisions that are coming down the pipe from the Budget Committee. Look at what it's going to take to get this budget back in balance. Look at what it's going to take to restore integrity to our fiscal system. Look at what it's going to take to inspire confidence in our foreign creditors. These are the real issues that we have to discuss, but we can't discuss them, Mr. Speaker, because we are still working on last year's business. Now, I think we're frustrated on both sides of the aisle that we're still working on last year's business. And candidly, it may come as a surprise to you, Mr. Speaker, but I don't blame a soul on the other side. The other side of this body has been our partner in moving H.R. 1 to the Senate. They've been our partner in making the tough decisions that had to be had. And we had Republican amendments that succeeded and Republican amendments that failed. We had Democratic amendments that succeeded and Democratic amendments that failed. And this body worked its will. But the Senate has yet to take up the legislation, has yet to take up the legislation passed in February, has yet to be taken up here as we sit here in the middle of March. Now, I don't know how in the world we have a negotiation, Mr. Speaker. We have done our work here at the House, and I'm proud not only that we did it, but I'm proud of the way in which we did it. But now we wait on the Senate to come to the table and lay down its vision for how we fund this government through September of this year. We continue to wait. And hopefully these 3 weeks, Mr. Speaker, will provide the time needed for the Senate to gear up and get going. Because I'll say it over and over and over again today, this is last year's business, and it is distracting us from the important business that needs to happen. I'll tell you this CR for 3 weeks isn't what I would have liked to have seen. What I'd like to see is H.R. 1 come back to this floor. What I'd like to see is H.R. 1 go to the President's desk. What I would like to see are the tough decisions that we made and the difficult discussions that we had on this floor be translated into the law of the land as it sits on the President's desk and receives his signature. But we cannot move to that point until the Senate acts. So I rise today, Mr. Speaker, to support this rule that will bring to the floor a continuing resolution that will give the Senate 3 more weeks to get its House in order, to do the business that the American people sent the Senate here to do, to join us in doing the good work that we have done, and to move a bill to the President's desk so that we can get on to the rest of the business that the country has laid before us. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves the balance of his time.